Good morning. It's about 11 a.m. I've just been up scrolling in my bed. Last night was the Itaewon tragedy happened. I'm very, very glad I didn't end up going because I ended up going out for a drink with my other friend, and it was maybe like, I don't know, in a district that was maybe like a 20-minute subway ride, 10-minute drive away. It was definitely still like busy, you know, there were a lot of people out and eating and stuff. And granted, I got there at like 12:30 in the morning, but it was not as, it was definitely not as busy or congested as Itaewon was. I drank a little bit, was definitely tipsy, was not feeling well by the end of the night. Won't talk about that now. But it was honestly pretty difficult to get home. I think for a typical weekend, I think a lot more people stay out late, like until the subways start running again, which is around like 5:30, 6 a.m. But I know at least for me, I wanted to go home early, so I left around like 2 o'clock or something. It was really hard because the buses were really limited. Like the night bus that runs, there is not enough of them. But I think normally because there's not as much of an influx of people trying to leave at those times, that's probably why. But still, the buses I got onto were packed wall to wall. Like I really couldn't breathe. And granted, being like tipsy and like in basically a super tight, compact bus with that, like, you know, it was hard to breathe. People were like smelly. Like, no, I did not feel well. So I had to like hop off a couple buses well before my intended stop because I couldn't just deal with all of that. And taxis were so hard to come by because taxi would have been my first choice, but like you'd sit there on your like taxi app or try to flag some down and they'd all be full or they were just not like picking up the call. So that was a lot. I did end up getting home safely, obviously, but it took me quite a while. I had to walk a little bit of a distance, take several buses, and then I finally got to a place where a taxi was around and would pick me up. So it was really good, but I'm just so shocked. Like, granted, I wasn't even in Itaewon, and I'm like mind blown and just still in shock and awe. And just I don't know how to process what happened. Like, I'm so like not. I don't know how to handle. But yeah, so I just woke up. I'm not feeling the best. Have a bit of a headache. You know, typical weekend feeling. So I think today is going to be very, very chill for me. Like, maybe grab something to eat, grab a coffee or something, lay in bed, probably just watch stuff on my computer because I have not had a lazy Sunday and I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to because I'm still kind of trying to figure out my own thoughts and I don't know. There's just no words, you know. But yeah, I guess I just wanted to capture some of my own thoughts, even though they're not very intricate or well thought out in real time. My heart and my thoughts, my prayers, I'm really thinking about all the victims, all those who have passed, those who are injured, those who still have not like been confirmed because there's like so many missing persons. Let's see. I'm keeping everyone in my thoughts and prayers and sending healing energy to all those who need it. So I really hope you are too.
Hey guys, it's me, Nilanda, in the present day 2023. Apologize for the absolute ass quality. I'm just filming this on the webcam on my computer while I edit this video. Yeah, that last clip was me literally the morning after. As I mentioned, I did not go to Itaewon. It was really hard to get home, and I mean, it literally took me like 2 hours to get home from an area that literally should have taken me like 30 minutes. But as I mentioned, I was definitely like tipsy, drunk, whatever. From where we were, it was really hard to catch a taxi. I think honestly, everyone has been struggling that night because after we left, like the restaurant bar area that we were at, everyone was trying to leave. On a regular weekend in Seoul, a lot of people stay out like super super late. You know, like you can go out until again like the subways come back on. I've been out pretty late where it was like, 4 a.m. and I'm like, I need to go home. And I'd walk outside of like the club, which was packed wall to wall, and the streets are packed wall to wall, So me wanting to leave at like 2 a.m. and there was still being a good amount of people outside wanting to leave as well was kind of surprising to me. But also, I don't know if it was like because of what was happening, but it was really hard to get a taxi because basically everyone uses a taxi app, and it basically acts like an Uber almost. But yeah, their drivers were just like not picking up, so that was rough because it's like, how am I gonna get home? So there is like a night bus that I did hop on like 2 different buses before I could even get like a taxi to pick me up, but the buses were packed wall to wall as well. And again, being like someone who gets motion sickness and is like tipsy and is just like, no, it was not it for me. Like I on the first bus I got on, I had to get off early because I could not make it all the way. I would have thrown up. I absolutely would have thrown up. So I had to get off, get some fresh air, and I took a little like breather, and then basically hopped on a different bus and let that drop me off somewhere else. And then I was in an area where conveniently I was able to get a taxi to pick me up, and then taxi took me home. But yeah, so I didn't get home till probably like 4 in the morning, and I spent some time just kind of like scrolling and stuff, and I think there was a lot more information at that time too, because I remember being in the taxi and posting like a story on my Instagram to be like, hey, I'm good, because I didn't obviously know what exactly was happening. I mentioned in my last video that I was in this really big group chat, and some of the people were there in Itaewon at the time. Most of the people who were active in the chat were at like a bar in Itaewon, and they could like see down below. Before I actually went to Korea, I was in a whole bunch of like Facebook groups, and I was on Reddit a lot, and obviously I was on like Kakao chats and stuff like that, just so I could like, do some research and understand, have resources about being in Korea for, an extended amount of time. And it was really scary and heartbreaking and very confusing, like hearing, seeing, reading people's like thoughts about what was happening, because while things were happening, people in my chat anyway didn't know exactly what was happening. They just said it was really busy. It looks like there's like, even serious, people look like they're passing out. Like it was just like, or going into cardiac arrest. It was just very confusing. People did not know exactly what was happening, and then all some of it's like hearsay and stuff. There's like people saying there's like a stampede, blah, blah, blah. There's a whole bunch of like things happening. And then in the following days, there were people in the chats being like, hey, have you heard from XYZ? Or in like a Facebook group, my son or daughter went to blah, blah, blah university. I haven't heard from them. Like, this, that, blah, blah, blah. And some of it, I'm sure, was the worst case scenario, but others were things like, oh, in the commotion, I broke my phone or something, you know what I mean? Which obviously as like a foreigner or something might be difficult to like get a new phone and to contact people and this, that, or blah, 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 So it was just very like those first few days, even like a week after, it was very, very like, it was tough emotionally, mentally for everyone, but also like this has come from someone who was not hurt, and I'm very lucky that I also didn't know anyone personally there, but also it's just like the aura, man, like there's just a lot of like feelings. And even in that really big group chat I was in, that's actually when I left it, because it got kind of like messy, just because there are people who were dealing with things in their own way, people who wanted to talk about it, people who didn't. So it was just like people were getting into arguments about like stupid ish. So I just like left it. Like I need to like figure out how to do my own processing, my own thing, and just like for me to mourn and to grieve, or to just So I guess that's my present day commentary, looking back at what I'm seeing that I filmed of myself at that time. So at this point in my trip, I have about 2.5 to 3 weeks left. And this week that's in the vlog is really kind of like a solo time. It was just me doing me, taking my time to just do things and heal. And I just didn't really know how to talk to anyone, or just like what to say. I don't know. It was just very, again, I think the thing with me is that I like to take my solo time to, sit and think and take it all in. I don't know how else to say it, but I tried really hard to still enjoy my time. Like I did some very self-care things, and I do think that it gave me a lot of time to like at least process a little more, think a little more, or just like take my own feelings in and let me like feel what they were, even if it was a mix of like confusion and sympathy and empathy and just like shock and every like emotion under the sun, right? But yeah.
Good morning. This is the start to a new vlog. I'm on my way today to get a scalp treatment because my dandruff is crazy and my head really could use a treatment. Yes, I went to a little coffee shop, wrote in my journal, did a little bit of weekly planning, but I'm feeling the best I can today. Yeah, it's Halloween today, so I'm still in that like processing aftermath of the tragedy. Look how cute the place is. The courtyard is so pretty. Yeah. That's where I'm going to get this fucking dandruff figured out. I'm ready to get my treatment. I'm dressed, ready to go. They did a in-depth like camera analysis of my head, and there were a lot of flakes because your girl has dandruff, and it was not cute to be looking at that in so much zoom. So I didn't take any footage of it. And then they did a little like stress test thing, which was kind of cool. They had like these metal things on my arms to like test my stress level. But yeah, and now I'm getting ready. My hair looks great. Obsessed. Like, if I just actually did my hair, I'd look freaking fabulous. But yeah, they basically said that I have a lot of stress and there's a lot of inflammation in areas of my scalp, which is probably why I'm like super itchy.
The next morning, I woke up really early and took a 1-hour train ride to Gangneung and then a 1-hour bus ride to Jumunjin Beach. I was really in my feelings that day. I think just, from the week. I didn't plan on going this day, but it was just the perfect opportunity and time for me.
Made it bright and early. It's about 8:15 in the morning and I just got here. It's nice to feel the warmth of the sun this morning. Made it to the beach. Made it to the bus stop.
So this bus stop is where BTS took their album jacket photos for the album You Never Walk Alone, which is arguably my favorite BTS album. The song You Never Walk Alone really means a lot to me. Going to the bus stop had been on my list for a while, and I just never scheduled it into my trip, and on a whim I decided today was the day to go. And honestly, being at the beach so early like this and being alone here was very much needed. This is what it's like when you are your own photographer.
I don't know what it is, but the ocean just has healing powers. I always feel a little easier. I don't know, like my breath stops being so heavy. I don't know. This is the way I love the beach. And it's pretty desolate, empty, and it's just me and the waves. I like that.
So as you can see, I did visit the memorial right after I got back from the bus stop. It definitely just felt like it was time for me. Throughout the whole week, people had been there leaving flowers and alcohol and tons of notes and stuff, and it
it was the right day for me to go. And I kind of just wanted to give you guys some background on, again, my experiences in Itaewon, because in October I had stayed in Itaewon, or close enough to it. So I definitely felt familiar with that street now, and I just wanted to give you guys some context. This is where the station is, so you have your entrances here. The memorial took place right here at the entrance number 1. The Hamilton Hotel is here, and then behind it, like up over here, all over here is where like a lot of nightlife is, and then the tragedy happened down here. I stayed around this area, but every day we'd have to go take the subway, so obviously I was on the street a lot. There's, I think, a Holly's Coffee right here, which me and Anna had gone to the first night she came. Like, we walked along the street the first night she came to like explore, and there was, I don't know if it's still there anymore. I couldn't find it on the map, so maybe it's closed down now. There was an Emart 24 that Anna and I, on the very first day that she had come, because we were up over here, we had dinner on one of the restaurants, and we were kind of walking through, that we got her T-Money card here. And I don't know, I just remember a lot of the area, you know? Like, the Dice my mom and I had gone to several times is down the street. And there's a really great cookie place that I love called Ben's Cookie down the street. Like, these are little things that I remember about this area, you know? And the first time I had gone out to like a gay club was in Itaewon. I think it was somewhere in this area. I'm not sure exactly, but yeah. Having stayed in the area and walking along those streets literally every day for like 2.5 weeks really made the tragedy feel like extra real to me. I don't know. It's just like when I went to the memorial and I saw the way the alley was just like, you know, caution taped off, like please sign, do not cross, and just seeing the like wreckage there, and seeing how, like, and just I guess imagining what happened or how many people were in that alleyway, or, you know, seeing the shops that were there, or again, you know, it's just that the subway entrance that I had entered or exited often, you know, and it was just really, really heartbreaking. I couldn't go there and not cry about it, you know what I mean? Like, it was just so sad. And along the entrance there was a lot of like just sticky notes of people wishing their, you know, best wishes to those who were hurt, and saying sorry, and that sorry that this happened, sorry that people's lives were taken away so abruptly with that like didn't need to, you know. But yeah, that was my experience visiting the memorial. Good morning. It's Friday morning here in Seoul, and it's definitely getting a little chillier. Definitely getting into the late fall. But today, oh gosh. Today I am headed to a dermatologist's office to get a nice facial. I'm really excited about this because your girl is getting a deep facial as well as a bit of a laser treatment. So hopefully my skin will be super shiny and clear and feel much better, because your girl be struggling right now. I was really looking into a laser facial, and I finally found a place that I think will do a good job. So I'm excited. This is me pretty much right after my facial. As you can see, there's definitely a little bit of redness because they went in on the extractions. Like, some of them are pretty painful, but it was definitely worth it. This was my first time getting like a laser facial, and I would definitely do it again. Granted, I think it was like a pretty light laser, but yeah, the process was actually really fast, probably like an hour and a half total, including like okay, you have your cooling mask on, sit here for 15 minutes and stuff. But hopefully in the next few days my skin will clear up, and they were like so nice. The translator was really good, and the doctor even prescribed me like a cream to help with some of my like dry patches from my seborrheic dermatitis, as well as prescribed me some pills to take to help with like bumpiness and inflammation post facial. So yeah. I will miss getting lunches like this. Like, Bosam is really the best. The best. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video is kind of all over the place because of the context of what was happening at the time. But yeah, I really appreciate it. I have a few more videos left in the Korea series, so I hope you stick around, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!